Right, so what's your name?
Barbara.
Barbara, cool. Right. Were you going to be called something else? Barbara wasn't what you were originally going to be called, was it?
No.
Ah. Right, okay.
About 9 years ago, I developed a lung condition
Right,
which has worsened all the time,
right.
and it affects my throat,
Yes.
so I can't talk properly. I've been a teacher of healing for donkey's years.
Right, so it benefits you. You're owed a cure.
I know.
I reckon she's owed a cure, don't you?
To do any more than coming to.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, about 2.5 years ago, I fell and I got a compound fracture on T5,
Right,
which is the heart chakra.
Right, okay.
And I'd like, that's painful.
That needs to be fixed as well.
Yeah.
Okay, let's work on the lungs first.
That's the lungs.
Lungs first, okay.
When I can't breathe, like if I walked up to the door and back again, I'll be puffing.
Right, okay.
And I feel that my brain doesn't get enough oxygen.
Yes. It's horrible not being able to breathe, isn't it? It really is. Yeah. Which really baffles me when I see people smoking. It's like, why would you do that? Do you not value breathing?
They don't see it that way though, do they?
No. Cool. So what they're doing first of all, Barbara, is they're just working on your head first. So the surgeons that come through me, very often they're quite playful. They're not, certain ones are more serious, but in the main they're quite playful. On the one hand, they love the fact they're not in human bodies because they don't have any bills to pay, don't have any work, don't even have to go to the bathroom or, put the toilet roll on the toilet holder. But on the other hand, Dr. Augusto, I was in Selby in the UK doing a show, and there was a baby that was brought in that had got very serious mental and physiological damage. And before the show, he just held that baby for about 30 minutes. He just held that baby and poured healing energy into that baby. And he was really, really teary as he handed over that baby because it had been 200 years since he'd held a baby. So he's foregone being a father, being a grandparent. He's forgone that just for the sake of assisting humanity. And he's not alone. There are about 2,000 or so. Now that's really weird. What's happened between my fingers on my left hand, the one that's away from the body, it's gone all sticky between my fingers, between my middle finger and my ring finger. Now the reason I get quite descriptive about what's happening for me is a lot of healers learn how to do this healing simply from watching me on YouTube. Because it affirms for them, oh, that's what happened for me, and they know they're not bonkers, that this can be real. Now Barbara, what's happening for you?
I'm feeling vibration right through my body.
And I think your voice is already starting to sound better.
It's stronger.
It sure is. And you'll see what they're doing for me. Can you see how they're making me stick my chest out? Maybe occasionally they do that, but it's to do with opening up the front of Barbara's chest, the sternum.
Yeah. And it's clicking.
It's clicking.
The sternum.
The sternum's clicking. That's a good sign, isn't it? That's a better option. I will tell you this one. I was in the UK working at a healing practice there, and there was a lady, we needed to work on the heart. The problem was the sternum. And the surgeon said, the problem is the sternum, we need to do something about that. And that week the lady had a car accident, hit the steering wheel and it broke the sternum. But then she got well. So we're not going to... Answer that again, Barbara?
The heart improved.
And listen to that voice, isn't that getting clearer? Yeah, the heart improved, yeah. So sometimes you can think it's a misfortune, but it might be protecting you from something else. Yeah. Did you get out of any exams or tests or anything like that? My partner, I've got a lovely, lovely partner, Andrew. But sometimes, like everybody goes through stuff, and it's got to be hard living with me. Can you imagine what it's like? It's got to be hard for him. And he's an amazing healer in his own right. But he attended a workshop I was doing, and during the workshop, he'd been ill for some time and hadn't asked me for healing, so I let him suffer. Well, unless he asks for help, people have got to ask. People have got to ask. Anyway, he was on this workshop I was running, and one of my guides went over to him and said to him, "You get sick to avoid the things in life you don't want to do." And for some people that is absolutely what it is. Not true in your case, Barbara, I'm just sharing that because it's a different story. Now Spirit is saying to me, you have helped a lot of people yourself this lifetime.
Yeah, that's true.
But you haven't been as outspoken as you could have been about your gifts and your abilities. It's quite a tricky one, really, because, like, you know, if you want to advance spiritually, you need to be humble. But if you're trying to be humble, you're not going to get there. I go, rah, 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 look at me, look at what I can do. That flies in the face of being humble. But you have a right to know this is possible. Because, I mean, what might have happened here is an MRI scan and then surgery, and then scar tissue and risk of infection. If there's a better way, we need to know. It just baffles me that more doctors, universities are not coming knocking on my door and finding out how this works, because they should be. Imagine the income New Zealand could have if we were the only country in the world that could do this.
Yeah.
We could stop milking dairy cows. Be a nation of healers. Now, something I am going to speak out about, I've kept my stum for quite a few years, but I'm not anymore, is vaccines. I'm not anti-vaccines, I am pro-good science, and please, if we can have independent, peer-reviewed science that is not provided by the vaccine companies that shows the vaccines are safe and effective, let's see it, because I haven't seen any in the last 20 years.
That's true.
But I'm not going to be an anti-vaxxer because I don't want to get negative. I want to be pro-good science. Let's be pro-good science. Are they safe? Are they effective? I know that, you know that, but the rest of the world out there might not know it yet, because there's a certain amount of brainwashing that's been going on. And the reason I'm mentioning that tonight is I have the misfortune to hear on the radio that somewhere in this area the kids are not going to be allowed to go to school if they're not vaccinated because they've got a measles outbreak. Well, what rubbish. What absolute rubbish. Churches. I don't want there to be any confusion. It's not faith healing. You don't have to believe a certain thing for this to work. Now the sound that you hear me using, that I started making 6 years ago after that experience in that hotel room reading that magazine, when I was in the UK this last year, I was approached by my favourite composer over there, a guy called Medwin Goodall. Medwin's best-selling album is called Medicine Woman, if you've come across that. Fabulous album. And he approached me and he said, come into my studio, let's put that sound onto some music CDs so that a lot of people can get well using the sound. doing? Let's listen to you talk first of all.
Well, much better. I can feel it. It's still croaky, but it's stronger.
You've got
and
some
more
volume.
And I'm breathing deeper.
Cool. Now I want you to stand. They've started working on there, but there's more they can take out. So if you can, that's it, just there, that's lovely. And I'm just going to move those so I don't trip over them. If you haven't already guessed, this guy working through me is a little fella. Now I know why I moved the shoes. Right, Barbara, let's see how we're doing.
I could feel that vibrating through my whole body. My hands were going with it.
Yeah,
It feels great.
feels great.
And I am breathing deeper.
But you said you'd be out of puff if you walked to the end of the room, so let's give it a go.
Let's give it a go.
She's off. I'm out of puff. She isn't.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can that be transcending for other people?
Yeah.
My breathing's changed because I don't breathe either because I'm a nasty smoker, but something just took over my body.
How are you
That's
feeling?
good. I'm not proud.
Yeah.